To order. Senator Conti, Senator.
Wow.
Been promoted.
Wow.
Okay.
Come from, anyhow, some laughter.
Oh, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Oh my
It's
God,
not me.
that was great, Todd.
And Councilor Dolan. So we have one item tonight from the docket of April 4th, 2023, and I would entertain a motion to approve a new Class 2 license application from Attleboro Shell Auto Sales LLC, 182 Pleasant Street, for 19 customer parking spaces and 10 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? That's okay. You don't have to do that yet. So, are there any questions regarding this motion?
Did you go there?
Yes, I've been there twice.
And is he closing off a curb cut to Pleasant Street?
To my knowledge, yes.
Or is
Starkey.
it Starkey, I'm sorry.
Starkey, yeah, Starkey.
The furthest one, he said.
Yeah, the one nearest the light. And he's also moved two of the cars that are closest when you do come in that one entrance. So that's, it's easy to flow through into that parking lot off Starkey now.
I think it's gonna be a tight parking lot.
It always has been, though. I mean, hopefully he'll keep it neat, because it's kind of always been really packed with
Right.
cars that they're repairing and such, so hopefully, you know.
When I viewed it today as I passed, it looked neater, and he had moved some things, and there were actually some open spots.
Well, I'm glad he's not talking about putting in a car wash. I'm okay with it.
You are okay? Okay. How you feeling about it?
I'm fine.
You're all right about it? Okay. I think he's going to do his job well. I found him quite amenable to any suggestions that I had. So, if that's the case, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes 3-0. I would call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned.
I would call Public Works to order at 7:02. Four motions from the docket of April 18th, 2023. I intend a motion to transfer $4,000 from account 1630100-521020 Recreation Lights and Power to account 16301-000-546012 Recreation Rec Grounds.
Second.
Thank you. So he's just transferring money for the remainder of the year to pay for stuff to take care of the grounds. That's it. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $45,000 from account 6000-578300 Wastewater Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6000-599000 Wastewater Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses, and further transfer $45,000 from account 6000-599000 Wastewater Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses to Fund 3224-499000 Wastewater SCADA Other Financing Sources.
Second.
Thank you. So this is, I'm sure, you know, we don't all remember the SCADA project, but anyway, this is an ongoing project that started in 2022. Basically, this money is to pay for outside electricians to finish the job, because one of the in-house electricians retired and the other one is injured. So we do not have an in-house electrician, which was part of the plan to save money. And obviously, circumstances have changed, and here we are. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $13,075 from account 163010000-511000, recreation salary and wages to the following to purchase supplies for fiscal year '23. $4,075 to account 163010000-524002, recreation maintenance of rec areas, $9,000 to account 163010000-546012, rec grounds.
Second.
Thank you. So this is, hold on, let me just write this. This is, it seems like a lot of money. You know, Dennis usually transfers from salary and wages or wherever he has extra money. The reason he has this extra money is because Dennis and Tim Killian have been working at the COA. So 50% of their salary has been coming out of COA and 50% from recreation. So that's why there's, usually it's not this much money. So that's the explanation for that. Does anybody have any questions?
What's the difference between recreation maintenance of recreation areas and recreation rec grounds?
Maintenance of rec areas and rec grounds, I can't answer that right now. I can find out.
I'm sure it's just, probably one of them's chemicals or something. the
I
other
assume
one-
the grounds is chemicals and seed and stuff like that for the grass, but I can certainly find out.
Coming from Dennis, his control, I'm sure it's legit.
I have no doubt that it is legit.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if I took a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $100,050 from account 60003590000 wastewater enterprise fund to fund 3233 30-inch sewer main project to sewer main repair, to fund the cost of design, bidding, and construction services to repair a 30-inch sewer main that crosses the 10-mile river.
Second.
So this is, we have a 30-inch sewer main that's going over the 10-mile river that was leaking. It has been since repaired, so it's not leaking, but we need to repair it ASAP. So that's what this money's for, and this is with a 15% contingency as well. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that's all I have tonight. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:07.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Got the new bell if you've run out of time.
Just made it.
That's an alarm to remind me to take my cell phone home with me when I leave the office.
It's late.
Otherwise, it's a return trip to Taunton. I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order at 7:09. Sitting on this committee are myself, Councilor Cobus, and Councilor Reynolds, and we have several measures before you this evening for your consideration. Starting with, from the docket of April 18th, 2023, I entertain a motion to authorize the city to expend $325,000 of ARPA funds on costs associated with the Wading River Test Phase 2 in order to continue to prepare for a large upgrade to the Wading River Treatment Plant.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. This is going to be an expensive one. The Wading River Plant, I remember 3 water directors ago, Paul Kennedy and the one in between and the one now, all complaining about the water coming from Wading River. That the addition of building a water treatment plant in Mansfield at the site is really what needs to take place. And we can't rely on just the filter beds and chlorine treatment any longer to provide us safe drinking water from the Wading River plant. And that's it in a nutshell. I'll call on Councilor Cobus.
My understanding from reading, in the write-up was pretty extensive on this, and I'll summarize a little bit, but I encourage people to read the write-up. But this is testing phase 2. Remember the TTHMs were high and everybody received the warning that the TTHMs were high for the Wading River plant. And there was going to be a temporary solution and then a long-term solution for the Wading River plant. And so we paid for testing phase 1. And we paid for the near-term solution, and that was relatively successful. Or not relatively, it was successful. One of the things that was detected, though, with the treatment that was applied was an increased level of manganese. And that was a byproduct of the treatment that's not regulated by the FDA, and it was a byproduct of the treatment. And so what this is saying, hey, there's another treatment we could do, an alternative that we could do that could also be successful. Before we spend millions and millions of dollars on the long-term treatment for Wading River, let's try this other possible treatment, test over the summer when the algae levels are high, and this other treatment does not have the high level, would not result in the high levels of manganese, and then and see how that works before we go down the road of investing however much the long-term solution for Wading River will be. So I think, I mean, it's a lot of money, the $325,000, but I think when we see the bill for what the long-term solution for Wading River is going to be, I think this investment and investing in finding the right solution for the drinking water is an appropriate investment for us to be doing. So I'm in support of it. And I encourage people to read the backing documentation, because I probably did not do the science justice. So I encourage you to read the backing documentation.
Councilor Waterman.
I know a number of items that I read today were going to be covered by ARPA. Was this one of them?
It is.
Okay, and I presume that there's a deadline for ARPA and we have to use that money.
There is, and this is an allowed use for ARPA.
Right.
Yep. And thank goodness we have it, because this $325,000, I believe, it's my personal belief, is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, a water treatment plant in Mansfield is gonna be expensive. Period. But we need safe drinking water, and we need Wading River because it produces such a substantial portion of our consumption. Any other questions or comments? Yes,
I just think it's also important to realize that this is going on all over the country.
yes.
I mean, this isn't just something that's happening here in Attleboro. It's all over the country, the world, actually, you know, so many forever chemicals findings everywhere now, even in animals, they're finding it, so, in the
Well, as the
rivers.
state became more sensitive to the levels in the water, for obvious good reasons, that's what changed it in Massachusetts. But you're right, it's changing around the
It's
country.
changing around, yeah.
Councilor Blair.
There is an upside to that new plant in Mansfield. If and when we put the plant in, we have the availability to sell water to both North Attleboro and Mansfield. And with the sale of that water, we could relatively pay for that plant. So we're not gonna take the hit as much as in the end run, because we're gonna have sellable water to 2 towns. At least 2, maybe 3. So it could work out that another municipality is gonna pay for that water plant.
You know well that that water treatment plant will take continuing maintenance and improvements and upgrades.
You're gonna have to put a crew over there.
You're right, exactly right.
You're gonna have to put a crew. The state won't let you operate that plant with nobody there.
Well, I believe with the SCADA system, a lot of it will be done digitally, but you're right.
You're
It's
gonna have to have a crew.
It's gonna require some manpower. Any other comments? It's a long way away.
Yeah.
Seeing none, the motion's in order, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I entertain a motion to authorize the city to expend $800,000 of ARPA funds on costs associated with the sand filter project. The bid for construction to complete the sand filter improvements originally funded by the Honorable Municipal Council in April 2022 is significantly greater than the original appropriation.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. While we cannot continue to rely on sand and chlorination to treat the water from Wading River, it's important that what we have, we keeps maintained. And the sand that we use in Wading River is not just sand, it's a very special sand, it's a very expensive sand. And once again, we're grateful that ARPA money's available to get us out of this hole, otherwise the water rate would be going through the roof. Any other comments? Seeing none, the motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $13,000 from account 1124-1000-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1124-1000-578030, citywide previous year bills to pay an invoice from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for weights and measures inspections done in fiscal year 22.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. This is the little sticker you see on the gas pump everywhere you go, that meters are being regulated and checked to make sure that you're getting the gallon of gas that you said you were, or the pound of meatloaf that you purchased on the deli counter. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve expend no more than $350,000 from the SPED Stabilization Fund 8507 for unexpected special education transportation costs incurred during the current fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. For years, those of you who were not here, the school departments would surprise us with a bill of $150,000, $200,000 for expenses in special education, transportation that they could not forecast and could not see coming because there's no way to forecast it. Anybody can move in the city at any time and ask for the child be transferred to Boston every day to school. That's the law. And it was called McKinney-Vento in the beginning. Now, the wisdom of past councils established a stabilization fund and to handle the SPED, so now we have the money ready and available to pay for these costs, and it's going to be a lot less painless. That concludes my comments. Anyone else have anything to contribute? Seeing none, motion's in order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $470,000 from Fund 2423-599-000 ARPA funds, other financing uses to Fund 2607-499000 Cape Run Park Zoo, other financing sources to support the operation of Cape Run Park Zoo.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about the zoo in the year coming. From the outside, it looks like the zoo's being mismanaged. And it has been mismanaged for years because it's losing money and good management doesn't allow an operation to lose money. However, it's more complicated than that, as government always is. The COVID probably had the biggest impact on the zoo than any other department, other than maybe the library in the city. And where the library is totally of a different budget structure, the zoo got hit harder. And there's a lot going on at the zoo. There's a lot of positive things going on at the zoo. And it makes sense to allow us to use the ARPA money to shut the door on the problem that we currently have. But the mayor's also set up a task force. He's meeting with them Friday to figure out how the losses can stop and how we can go forward with a better plan than we've had in the last 3 years. I could speak additionally about how this has not been quite so obvious in the budget in years past. But we don't get a line item budget for review when we approve a budget. We basically see the current year's expenditures, year-to-date expenditures, and this year's expenditures over last year's. And we don't really see like a P&L sheet on the library or on any department because the budget's not set up that way. So I think it's wise to give the mayor an opportunity to work with the task force to come up with a recommendation to the council to solve this problem going forward so that we don't have deficits in the future. And so I would encourage the passage of this measure, $470,000 from ARPA funds, to take care of this problem. Councilor Dolan.
I agree, and I support this. And, you know, it wasn't just COVID, it was last summer too. Last summer's heat wave, the heat that we had really hurt, on top of COVID, just hurt them again. And it's zoos all over the country. They suffered tremendously from the heat last year. And I'm thankful that we have these ARPA funds, and I agree that the task force will be necessary and to figure out the future. And, you know, if people think it's mismanagement, you know, I would disagree with that, because people have to continue to work, whether or not there are people coming through the door. We have to continue to care and feed the animals, veterinary care, all of it. So I definitely support this, and I think, you know, we'd be taking this from our rainy day fund, and this is a rainy day for our zoo right now, and I think we need to support them and see if we can get through this.
So I believe the entire picture of the zoo is being reconsidered. Potential for outside management to farm it out to a private entity rather than have it a city government-funded entity. And I feel confident in that process, that everything should be looked at before it comes to us for a vote. I have a lot of questions about the zoo, and I recognize it personally as one of the crown jewels of Attleboro. And it's a very important distinction in the city that I would like to see maintained. So I'll be watching this very closely. Yes, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. I agree about it being a jewel. The other thing I wanted to mention was that the CARES Act funds, this is how other communities are using this, and I really just feel like we need to get creative about how we are going to help them right now, and the task force is going to hopefully get us into the future of what the planning is, but we definitely have to support this, is how I feel about it.
I'm glad you mentioned planning, because the zoo is in the middle of or near coming to the end of a strategic plan that is very exciting about the things that they could bring to the zoo in the future, given the financing. And I guess this reinforces what Councilor Dolan said, that even though it might appear to be a management issue, it may not be a management issue, because with the strategic plan and the certification of the zoo is being managed properly. The question is, why is it still losing money? So I do think that the zoo has an eye to the future that's positive, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Councilor Reynolds?
I was just going to, pretty much you brought it up, I was just going to say that, again, it's something that's happening throughout the country, that because of COVID and the heat wave, people are realizing how much money, actually, it costs to run a zoo, because no one's coming in. No one went in. No one went there during COVID. No one went during the heat wave. It was too hot. So they're not making any money. So the only good thing that came out of it is that we're aware now that every year it was losing money, but nothing like what it lost in the last 3 years. And so now it's here, and we know it's not, you know, we really have to understand what the cost is to run a zoo, and what can we do to make that, lessen that cost, or how do we improve? As you said, they're looking at ways to improve or bring in additional money other than just people coming in to see the animals. So it's a lot of money to run a zoo, and now there's veterinarians on board, all these things that, years ago, were not something that we really considered. It's just a lot. If you have an animal at home, a dog or a horse or anything like that, you realize how much money it costs to just take care of it, you know? So I don't know where it's going to end up, but I think it's good that we're looking at it now and that it came to the forefront, you know, and that we can hopefully do something.
And the costs are going up. You know, I had
Yeah,
a conversation today with a constituent who was complaining that to buy a little cup of ice cream at the zoo is $6. And I said, when was the last time you went to Bliss?
Yeah.
You know, buy a small ice cream cone. Guess what you're gonna spend? You know,
Yeah.
so, we raised the ticket prices to the zoo. Maybe we didn't raise them enough.
Maybe not.
Maybe the drought was the death knell of last year. Everything needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
And so this is a measure that I think we should pass, the $470,000 from the ARPA funds. Any other comments? Motion's in order, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 4th, I entertain a motion to approve the following. Program year 2023 CDBG entitlement budget for the period July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Program year 2023 annual action plan and authorization to submit said program year 2023 CDBG entitlement and program year 2023 annual action plan to United States Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before May 15th, 2023.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. We all saw that from the Community Development Director's presentation last week on slides. Her numbers are going down a little bit, but the program is really well run, and I don't see a problem with this. I think this is one department that's coming along nicely. Any other comments, questions? Yes, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. This is one area that I've always, just being a social worker like Councilor Waterman, I'm always honing in on kind of how not-for-profits are accessing grants. I was a little concerned. Sorry, I broke up last week when I was remote, but I did reach out to ask about only getting 6 applicants that had applied for the funding. I did feel like that was low. We have so many not-for-profits here in the city that I feel like if we could do more outreach and let them know how to access the funds or how they can apply, it could really be beneficial. I was also concerned because our own DPW applied for pavement, and again, there's so many creative ways that this funding can be used for. It could be used for historical sites, it could be used for the arts, it could be used for park and recreation. We could be using it for kids that are in a lower income area to access funding for camps. And so I really want to encourage us to be creative with this funding. And I was concerned that the CARES funding, we have $218,000 and only $35,000 of it has been spent so far. To me, it's concerning. Some areas are using their CARES funding for business licenses since COVID, move fees for business licenses to help them. There's ways that this funding can be used, and I just want us to be creative with it.
So, 2 things coming to mind while you were speaking, Councilor Holmes. One is I would love to see, in a perfect world, the CDBG hire a full-time grant writer. Because you're right, there are a lot of opportunities out there that we might be able to take advantage of if we had someone doing full-time grant writing for CDBG. Secondly, the criteria from the Housing and Urban Development has changed over the years, where the money that they give to the nonprofits has to create a measurable effect. And they now measure that, and that's responsible for monitoring those programs and having those firms fill out the forms of what did they get for the money, what did they do for the programs, and what was the result of them doing the programs, which didn't used to happen in the past, which brought the number of people applying for the assistance down. So I agree that broadcasting the availability of, but I do think that she does that, well, she's probably doing it the same way she's always done it. Maybe there's a new way of doing it that could be done better. Yeah. Anyone else? Are you swatting flies? Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. I agree with Council Holmes in the sense of, and I wish I would have said something when Dot was here, but, you know, maybe we should get like a tally of what's going on, because we've only expended $35,670, and that's not that much out of $218,000. So I'm sure somebody else could have qualified. And of course, we want people to be qualified, right? We don't want to just hand it out to people that aren't deserving. And just the DPW, it was for accessible sidewalks. So, you know, I don't want the public to think we're paving, you know, a street with CARES money. So it's for, you know, ADA accessibility on sidewalks on 3 different streets. But I agree with Council Holmes. I think, you know, maybe we should get some type of information on how this is, like, why we still have all this money and what.
We did address that, and I remember asking her, but I don't have my notes with me tonight. And I think what she said was that it was pipeline issues, that the money is committed but it hasn't been expended, that the money has been obligated and the money has been forecasted to be executed, but year-to-date, the numbers are low.
So maybe it just wasn't clear on, maybe we should have just had a list. So if they're earmarked for certain projects or people or whatever, maybe if we had that information, it would have been clearer that we don't have all this money left and it's really earmarked for these projects.
Yeah, I was of the impression that Dot tries to keep her presentation condensed. And when I asked her a question, suddenly you see how much detail there is behind any one of the things that she was talking about. So we can ask her to expand on this in the future. And I think that's a worthwhile comment. But be prepared for longer presentations. Councilor Corbis.
I also agree with Councilor Holmes, but I also recognize that there may be some theme side to this, and I know with the big read, and we were talking a lot this year on accessibility of the sidewalks and the wheelchairs and all that stuff, so maybe just for next year, I'd love to see some comparison of what other communities are doing with this CDBG money, and some just sort of get a feel for what other communities are doing with it, and know that we've taken that into account. I assume that's already happening, but I'd love to also understand that ourselves as part of the presentation. Does that make sense?
Well, it did in the beginning, but then as I was thinking about what I know about CDBG and other communities, they all talk to each other. And assessors work with CDBG departments closely. And you've just opened up the complexities tremendously, because it is astounding what's going on from community to community. So I would recommend that be provided to the council in advance, an analysis of community-wide, rather
Agreed.
than the night of the presentation.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. If you're in agreement to that, I'll make a note of it.
Absolutely. And I assume that's already happening well in advance, but it would be useful data for us, I think. And I
It'll
think
be an
that's something
eye-opener, I
what
promise you
Councilor
that.
Holmes was referring to.
Okay, any other comments? Motion, yep.
I would just say that the deadline of May 15th, if anybody's watching, that's the deadline.
Anything else? Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $6,981.69 from account 6100-359000, Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings, to account 6100-5 587046 Water Enterprise Fund van purchase, and appropriate $4,654.46 from account 6000-359000 wastewater enterprise retained earnings to account 6000-587046 wastewater enterprise fund van purchase due to a price increase of $11,636.15 for Ford T-250 Transit van ordered in December of 2022.
Second.
So, yes, Council Angelo.
I don't want to take the place of someone in your committee, but what I don't quite understand is if I was personally purchasing a vehicle, I put a deposit down, get an agreement, they place an order for a van or a car or whatever it is, and all of a sudden this thing comes in and it's at a different cost. There is no way I'm going to walk away from that deal if they don't. I mean, that's going to mess me up going forward, but how is that even possible if you get an assigned agreement and all of a sudden, oh, sorry, we got a $12,000 increase? How is that even possible?
Council Blair.
Maybe I could help explain that. This van was ordered well over a year ago, so the price was legitimate back then. It's not the dealer's fault. It's Ford Motor Company. That van has just escalated in price. They held that van for like 4 months now for us. If we don't do something now, we're gonna lose the van. We can't go anywhere else for it without paying this price or more.
And waiting another year
And wait,
or more.
they will probably pick up the manufacturing and probably wouldn't have a year and a half, a year and 3 months, whatever it was. But it was no fault of the dealer, and it was no fault of the city of Attleboro. This is the price. We need the piece of equipment. It's being shared by wastewater and water, the cost. And it's basically is what it is. If we don't get this passed, that van's going somewhere else. That dealer's not going to be paying floor plan on that van or paying Ford interest for it to sit there. So I just want people to know that it's not a private person going in buying a unit, that you can walk away to and go down the street to another dealer and buy it. It's not available. We're lucky it's available now, and I don't like eating that kind of money, but that's the name of the game in the automobile business. You used to be able to go and deal and wheel, and they did discount. Most vehicles that are sold now are sold at list price, what's on the window, and if you're fortunate enough to have a good trade, you might have a slight advantage. But you can't go in with cash and get a discount on a vehicle anymore like you used to with no trade. So I feel bad. I think the main reason is they weren't making it. We had trouble importing parts to put in them. A lot of vans sat outside the plant where they were built because they missed the little computer chip inside. We waited for those, which is the country's fault for buying them from China in the first place, right? The Ford, and I think they've got active in it. Car manufacturers are manufacturing those particular parts here in this country, or maybe in Mexico rather than over the Pacific. So I know it's a big bullet to swallow, but we really don't have any choice. It is what it is.
All set? Council Angelo.
Just don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Not saying that it was the blame of some individual, and maybe I don't understand how it happened if we appropriated the money and then we couldn't buy it at a certain point.
You have to appropriate money in order for that purchase order to go out. They can't issue a purchase order without the money being appropriated.
Yeah, yeah.
We appropriated enough money to buy the van, back a year and a half ago almost. The order was put in with a purchase order. The price of it went up.
But my argument is, and not to say that someone did something wrong, it's just that maybe Ford is being disingenuous by, if you sign on the dot, you sign a contract saying, okay, I'm gonna buy this van for this money, and then all of a sudden Ford comes in and says, well, time out, prices have changed, and even though we agreed to this contract, we're gonna break that contract and we're gonna charge you an extra $12,000. That's kind of the point I'm making. And I'm saying it's probably obviously it's out of our control, some crazy things going on, but it just thinks that these car companies would be doing this.
So Council Angelo, I'd like to add that from personal experience, I was considering purchasing a vehicle last September, October. And I was thinking about buying a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. And during that time, they increased the manufacturer's suggested retail price mid-year from $38,000 to $42,000. Just like that, changed the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Across the board, you want a truck, that's what you're gonna pay. So I decided not to buy a truck, and because I was angry that they could do that, and I wasn't gonna supply that kind of action, and I don't own Toyota stock. I don't own Ford stock either. Council Waterman, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay. I sympathize with, and I agree with you, and yet suddenly, $11,000 increase is $11,600 increase, a lot of money. But I also agree with Councilor Blair. I mean, I used to know an auctioneer used to say, you snooze, you lose. If we don't buy the van, it's gone, someone else is gonna get it.
Oh, yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. Are we all set? Motion's in order, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I entertain a motion in accord with the Attleboro City Charter, Section 6-3D, to adopt the following resolution to adopt the capital improvement program for fiscal years 2024 through 2028. Resolution, City of Attleboro Capital Improvement Program, fiscal year 2024 through 2028. Whereas the Home Rule Charter approved by the people of Attleboro in November 1973 requires the submission of a 5-year capital improvement program at least 6 months prior to the last day of each fiscal year, and whereas the charter calls for a yearly adoption by resolution of the council at least 5-year capital improvement program for the city, and whereas the charter calls for a public hearing which was held on the council on February 21st, 2023, and whereas our municipal fiscal management reflects a plan to maintain a capital improvement line item in the budget of $500,000, and whereas our municipal fiscal management reflects a plan to maintain a capital improvement line item in the budget upon state certification of free cash, whereas the city's capital improvements have and continue to depreciate and deteriorate logarithmically, and whereas the capital improvement program each year requires the city's future projects to be regularly reevaluated and updated in response to changing needs and conditions, and whereas the council makes the following suggestions and recommendations in adopting the capital program for 2024-2028. For the management information systems, replacing the Cisco switches at $85,000. The Council on Aging for replacing the rooftop HVAC using ARPA money, $400,000, and replacing the rubber roof, $40,000. And to upgrade the roof drainage runoff for $200,000. For the fire department, the Twin Village renovation Phase 1 design, $200,000, and the Briggs Corner renovation Phase 1 design, $200,000, and the storage area for personal protective equipment, $50,000, headquarters HVAC, $50,000, South Attleboro HVAC, $60,900, and the South Attleboro roof, $40,900. The library carpeting at $200,000. Parks and Forestry, Belfour Riverwalk Bridge, $60,000. The maintenance building at $330,000. The repair of the Newell Shelter for $600,000, and the zoo asphalt and roadways, $120,000. And in the police department, to replace the front stairs at $125,000. The Bowler Wrap device, $39,495. And the early warning software program for $35,000. Evidence storage for $20,000, and the repoint the brick facade at $24,000. In the school department, the Hill Roberts HVAC at $140,000, and the Hyman Fine HVAC $140,000. The total, $3,758,495 in suggestions and recommendations are approximately $500,000 more than last year, reflecting the items we did not complete with new urgent items. In summation, the council is of this opinion that the ever-growing CIP items will never be resolved without perpetuating the fiscal policy of a line item for capital improvement implemented 3 years ago. There is a need to build upon this policy for the timely replacement of vehicles, equipment, and minimize the deferred maintenance amid the ebb and flow of municipal funds. Therefore, the council adopts the capital improvement program for 2024 through 2028.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. So, what this reflects is capital improvement book. I spent a lot of time with it and talked to a few department heads. For example, the police department. I thought that his repointing the brick facade should be brought up to urgent because I think it's going to be a while before there's a public safety complex. And they're going to be in that building for a while, and it should be taken care of while they're there. And it may be used for something else when they're gone, if they're gone. Some urgent items are more urgent than others. I mean, we might be able to go another year in the library without carpeting. You know, it's deteriorating, but it's carpeting. I will be meeting with the mayor this Friday on this resolution, and as we get nearer to finalizing the budget, I'll be lobbying for my $500,000 to be included again this year, which every year I have to fight to make sure it stays in, and many times at the last minute, it gets yanked. So I'll do what I can, and it is what it is. Any comments? Yes, Councilor Dolan.
So, I was disappointed to not see the recreation $600,000 in here for the EDA compliance.
I thought we already funded that.
We did, didn't we?
I thought we did.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty sure.
I think we did.
We did, we funded,
My
we
recollection.
did.
I'll have to look that up.
Mhm.
Also, I wouldn't be for doing anything with the Council on Aging until the feasibility study comes in.
The building department is meeting on emergency meeting tomorrow night at 5 o'clock here on the Council on Aging feasibility study. So by next week, when we're on the floor, we should know more about where that is.
Okay, thank you.
So we got another week to noodle around. Councilor Bennett.
Thank you. On Councilor Dolan's point, with regard to the Council on Aging, I take a different view. Even with the feasibility study, even if we determine, we have an ability to move forward in any kind of time frame, we're still looking at, probably 5 years realistically at the very earliest to see something come to fruition. I think these repairs are absolutely necessary. I think that COVID showed us the cracks in our current system and infrastructure, and HVAC's critically important, especially when we're talking about a senior population that's at higher risk. And if we're going to do the HVAC and those roof units, we need to address the roof as well. So I think preserve the asset we have, because nothing is guaranteed right now.
Councilor Blair.
I agree with Councilor Bennett. If we own it, we've gotta maintain it. Nothing's gonna be fixed tomorrow or next year, especially on a large scale, $5, $6, $8 million project. So these are maintenance items, should be taken care of.
I like a conservative estimate. Any other comments on the capital improvement resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. That concludes the Finance Committee agenda for this evening.
We've got one.
Before you close your meeting.
Okay,
Okay, so I just have a question here that I want to clarify. So we're meeting, the finance, May 9th and May 23rd, from 7 to whatever, I'm looking at okay, these are two of our committee meetings. So my question is, are we, and this might go to you, Councilor Cobus, are we, the rest of us, because they are a committee meeting night, are we going to meet at 6 to 7, some of us? Because otherwise, we won't have any of our own, we won't have brought out any of our own things for those in-between meetings, the one on the 16th, nor the one on the 30th. So, because we will have missed these 2 committee meetings. My third question is if we're not doing it at 6 or 5:30 or whatever, if we're not meeting, should we, and this is entirely up to other people, not just myself, but should we try to separate some of these to make another night, maybe a Wednesday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, so we'd get out a little bit earlier? Not because of anybody here, because that's part of their job, but it is a long day for our auditor, Deb Gould, who I worry about, who has so much on her plate since the changeover and, you know, everything that's going on up there. So I don't know if we should try to make this May 9th and then the Wednesday and then May 23rd, and we come in at 6, but I think we need to figure out what we're doing if we're going to have any of our own committee meetings prior to the Council of the Whole. So I'm just throwing it out there. How are we going to deal with that? What are we doing?
So, Councilor Reynolds, the
Thank you.
schedule was suggested by the city auditor, Deb Gould.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yes.
good to know.
Exactly what you see.
Okay.
And the conversation in the mayor's office with Deb Gould was that they both really wanted to see this happen. They
Okay.
both want to see it happen before the passage of the budget, which is scheduled for June 8th,
Yeah.
which is Deb Gould's very excited about. And the workload gets lighter in May, so yes, we could have council committee meetings at 6 o'clock through 7 o'clock. If they go longer, that's fine. The rules for our meetings are that if you say you're going to start at 7 o'clock, you can start anytime after 7
Yes.
o'clock, but you can't start before. So if the committee meetings go longer than 7 o'clock, they'd go longer, which means
Everybody else goes.
finance meetings go longer. We also can recess, you know, if it gets to be 11 o'clock, we could recess and say we're going to switch them over to the following week. There was a discussion among a couple of constituents who wanted to see the finance committee meetings happen on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock when everyone's expecting to watch city council meetings. And they have a guarded opinion of what happens when city councils pick a different night for a committee meeting, because it often goes unnoticed, unadvertised, unwatched, and not seen until they're watching it on the internet after the fact and nothing can be done. So, for those reasons, we set up Monster Nights, and the attitude was that's what we're paid for. That's why we get the big bucks. I mean, the big bucks. This week I met with a retirement person in Taunton. And I said, hey, tell me something. I've been a city councilor in Attleboro for 14 years, earning $7,750 a year. What am I going to retire on from the city of Attleboro? He says, well, if you retire tomorrow, Richard, it'd be $542 a year. That's not even a tank of oil.
No. But I appreciate because I was confused. It seemed like a lot. Okay, so you've answered that. So the next question is, we're coming in at 6? Is that how we
Is that
want to
what we're
do
doing?
to meet?
Committee is 6?
Committees on these 2 nights, start at 6?
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably everybody, right?
Well, I guess
Because
if you don't have
yeah.
any, but if you do have some stuff.
And if finance doesn't start at 7, it doesn't start at 7. It's fine.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay. All right, thank you. I just thought I needed to ask that because I was totally confused what was going on. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. I declare the Finance Committee adjourned at 7:54. Thank you.
Transportation and Traffic Committee is canceled for this evening, and I'd like to call Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee to order at 7:54. Okay, so we have a couple of items that I really think we need to discuss tonight. And the first one, I'll just get right into it. The first matter is regarding the proposed amendments to the Stormwater Management Ordinance. So we have the motion currently, I guess I'll do I have to read it all out? I think we read it all out when it was introduced. But I can if we need to,
I
for the
would,
discussion.
I would read it.
Okay.
Sorry.
From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the following ordinance change in Chapter 19, Stormwater Management. Proposed amendments to Chapter 19, Stormwater Management Ordinance of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as amended February 14th, 2023. 1. Amend Chapter 19, Stormwater Management Ordinance of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as amended by deleting in its entirety Appendix E, median pollutant removal for approved practices to meet water quality treatment criteria. 2. Amend Section 19-1.1, purpose, by inserting the language in accordance with the city's requirements for authorized coverage under the municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4, general permit issued by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, at the end of the first sentence as follows. The purpose of this ordinance is to protect, maintain, and enhance the public health, safety, environment, and general welfare by establishing minimum requirements and procedures to control the adverse effects of construction site stormwater runoff, post-construction stormwater runoff, and illicit connections and discharges to the municipal storm drain system in accordance with the city's requirements for authorized coverage under the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4 general permit issued by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. 3. Amend Section 19-1.1A4, purpose, by deleting the words control facilities and inserting in place there of words green and infrastructure as follows. Establish design and application criteria for the construction and use of structural green stormwater infrastructure that can be used to meet minimum post-development stormwater management standards. 4. Amend Section 19-1.2 definitions by deleting the definition of best management practices in its entirety. 5. Amend Section 19-1.2 definitions by inserting the definitions green stormwater infrastructure, rainwater harvesting, and stormwater control measure alphabetically as follows. Green stormwater infrastructure, the range of SCMs that use plant or soil systems, permeable pavement or other permeable surfaces or substrates, rainwater harvesting and reuse, or landscaping to store, infiltrate, evapotranspirate, and or clean stormwater and reduce flows to the municipal storm drain system and or to surface waters. Rainwater harvesting, a technique of capturing, storing, and reusing rainwater on site. Stormwater control measure, SCM, structural, non-structural, and managerial techniques that are recognized to be the most effective and practical means to prevent and or reduce increases in stormwater volumes and flows, reduce point source and non-point source pollution, and promote stormwater quality and protection of the environment. Structural SCMs are devices that are engineered and constructed to provide temporary storage and treatment of stormwater runoff. Non-structural and managerial SCMs use natural measures and better site design techniques to reduce pollution levels, do not require extensive construction efforts, and or promote pollutant reduction by eliminating the pollutant source. 6. Amend Section 19-1.51 exemptions and Section 19-1.52 exemptions by inserting the words, quote, that disturb less than 1 acre of land, end quote, at the end of the sentence as follows. 1. Construction, renovation, or modification of a single-family dwelling and associated accessory structures customary to single-family lots that disturb less than 1 acre of land. 2. Construction, renovation, or modification of a two-family dwelling on a single lot and associated accessory structures customary to such lots that disturb less than 1 acre of land.
Second.
Thank you. So we received a revision from Gary Arasian following the public hearing where we had some confusion about the language in paragraph 6, the amendments to the exemptions of that disturb less than 1 acre of land, and what exactly that language means. The revision that he sent and the recommendation that he sent is to clarify this to instead say of any size that results in less than 1 acre of land disturbance. He confirmed that it's not so much the size of the acre, it's how much we're disturbing. So if it's less than an acre that is being disturbed, and this is intended to make that very clear, then it's exempt, and it would fall under the exemption. Are there any questions pertaining to that recommendation?
I just, for years, have been very concerned about evapotranspiration.
You and me both.
It's just up at night, worried
I don't think I've
about it.
ever said that out loud before. Any other questions or discussion? What I'd like to do is amend the proposed amendment. So I will, unless someone else would like to make the motion, I'm happy to bring that out.
You've crafted it.
All right. Okay. So I move to amend specifically paragraph 6 of the proposed amendment to read as follows. Amend section 19-1.51 exemptions and section 19-1.52 exemptions by inserting the words that disturb, by inserting the words, quote, of any size that results in less than 1 acre of land disturbance at the end of the sentence as follows. Construction, renovation, or modification of a single-family dwelling and associated accessory structures customary to single-family lots of any size that results in less than 1 acre of land disturbance. 2, construction, renovation, or modification of two-family dwelling on a single lot and associated accessory structures customary to such lots of any size that results in less than 1 acre of land disturbance.
Second.
Don't you mean to say that customary to such lots of any size then
Of any size that results in
Then less than
1 acre of
okay.
land disturbance.
Just want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Sorry, I just,
Discussion.
So, I'm sorry. Any questions or discussion?
so I just want to make sure that I understand. So there's 1 acre, but if you're only disturbing a smaller portion, you are exempt. You
Yes.
need to be disturbing the full
That's right.
acre, making a,
You need
okay.
to be disturbing 1 acre or more of the land.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Oh, yes.
And this is the same text that Gary proposed
Yes.
last week.
Yes, I'm not making any change to his proposal.
So we're voting on the amendment.
That's right, so we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And now a vote on the language as amended.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, thank you. The next item I'd like to discuss is on, you'll find it starting on page 9 of the committee minutes. And it's regarding, so we have some business that's been on the docket since January, from the docket of January 17th, 2023. I entertain a motion. This isn't written right, I'm sorry. I entertain a motion to amend section 7-1.1 alpha A of the Municipal Council Rules of Procedure as follows. The council president will refer new business and policy matters to the appropriate committee, and the committee shall provide timely progress reports on all such matters until such time as the final recommendation is made to the council. If after 30 days after a matter was referred to a committee or after a public hearing on the matter has been closed, whichever is later, it may be called for a vote before the full council by 5 members of the council. If after 45 days after a matter was referred to a committee or after a public hearing on a matter has been closed, whichever is later, it may be called for a vote before the full council by 4 members of the council. If after 60 days or more after a matter was referred to a committee or after a public hearing on the matter has been closed, whichever is later, it may be called for a vote before the full council by 3 members of the council. Do I have a second? No? No second. The motion is dead. And the last item I was hoping to discuss this evening is the Sustainability Commission proposal. However, it appears that the language that's written in our docket is still the original language here. I'm sorry, that's on the committee minutes. And what I've been unable to track down was the proposed revisions that Mayor DeSimone had given before she rotated out of the council. And so I'd like to actually hold this matter open a little bit longer, if the committee's okay with that, and see if we can track down the most current version to make sure that we are actually looking at the most current language. Yes, Councilor Conti?
So the city of Taunton instituted a sustainability commission and got a grant to fund the commission, which I think we should also look into before we establish the commission.
What are they funding? Is it?
I have no
Is
idea.
theirs not volunteers?
You know, it has nothing to do with assessing. I don't
You
pay
just know
attention.
it.
Okay, well, more to come. Well, thank you for that. And that concludes the business for this evening for the Ordinances Committee, and I move to adjourn at 8:05.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.
IT and infrastructure is canceled for tonight?
Zoning and land use is canceled for this evening.
Okay, I'd like to call City Property and Claims Committee to order at 8:06. And I have two motions this evening. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following police department vehicles as surplus and available for disposition, for trade in, or to sell. A 2014 Ford PI Utility Explorer 1 FM 5K8 AR3 EGC 2 6653 is the VIN number. It has 128,000 miles on it. No, 128,517 miles on it. It's in poor condition. And another 2015 Ford PI Utility Explorer. That VIN number is 1 FM 5K8 AR 1 FG A1 5906. It has 126,934 miles on it, and it is also in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I have no further questions. Anyone else? No? No? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes. That motion passes. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $27,500 from account 1000-359000, undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to account 11241000-582514, citywide building renovations to convert the election office storage area to office space.
Second.
Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and I think it's time it will open up some space here.
Absolutely.
Any questions, further questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes, and that is all the business City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. So I would like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, and so we will be adjourned at 8:08. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 8:08.
Call Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee to order at 8:08. Members present, Councilor Waterman, Councilor Blair. On the docket of April 18th, 2023, entertain a motion to approve the confirmation of the following reappointments. Lee Gazelle, Board of Park Commissioners, 5 years, February 2028. Albert Richmond, Disability Commission, 3 year, February 2026. Christopher Quinn, Health Officer, 1 year, February 2024. Kevin Smith, Cable Advisory Commission, 1 year, February 2024.
Second.
All right. These are reappointments. Lucky to have these people here. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
It's fine.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. For the docket of April 18, 2023, entertain a motion to approve the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Peter Mello, City Solicitor, 1 year, February 2024. Catherine Merkel, Zoning Board of Appeals, 3 years, February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Just reappointments. Lucky to have these guys. Any questions?
None.
All those in favor?
Kathy Merkel's been with this city doing numerous things ever since I can remember. So she's, and that definitely a real asset with past knowledge, and she's just a wonderful person.
And I think, and also Peter Mello, he's fitting in really nicely, really quickly, so
Yes, he is.
we're lucky to have him as well, too. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, entertain a motion to accept a generous donation of 12 3x5 American flags valued at a total of $300 from Eric J. Purcell, Exalted Ruler, Attleboro Elks, 1014, to the Veterans Department.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Obviously, we're very lucky to have this. Thank you to the Elks and Exalted Ruler, Eric Purcell. Any questions?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Mayor Kathleen D. Simone to unexpired term on the Board of Sturdy Memorial Hospital, term to expire December 2024.
Second.
All right, well, this is just expected. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And I think, just gonna check, that's all we have for,
I have a question.
yeah, sure.
Before he's closed. I read, and I wasn't aware of it till I read it, I can't remember where I read it now, that there are allowed 2 council members on Sturdy Hospital's Board of Trustees, Board of Directors.
I thought it was one, but,
To my knowledge, there was one from the council and the mayor.
Yeah,
There
it's
was
always.
2 total,
Right.
but one is the mayor.
Yep.
And one usually is the president
President
of
of
the council.
council.
that's
Okay.
correct. Yep,
That's been forever.
yep.
Yeah.
We did talk about it once during Mayor Dumas's term. Yeah. Go
All right.
ahead.
Any other-
No,
Oh,
All right, you dragged me
Senator
into it.
Conti?
Dragged me into it.
I just made it.
The resolution is that the council selects 2 people. It doesn't have to be the mayor, it doesn't have to be the president, just 2 people. And every year, we select the mayor and the president of the council. There was an issue earlier that Catherine DeSimone was on the board. Turns out she's on a different board. She's on the Sturdy Memorial Foundation Board, not this board that we're appointing to her now.
Right.
So it's,
Makes,
to be clear, the council can select any 2 people, but it's for a 2-year term. And it was last year, it's just because Catherine has changed jobs that this has come up. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Fine.
Okay, all right, call for adjournment at 8:12.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:12. Let's see, I have no business for a special committee of classification compensation, and we call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Public safety, emergency management has no business this evening. Cancel.
The special committee for tax abatement review has no business to discuss this evening, and we will look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Was traffic canceled?
Yep. Oh, sorry.
Counselor Angelo, will you cancel special committee on
He did.
classification?
I did,
Yeah.
already did.
Okay.
Perfect. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
All right,
you.
have a good night.